Y'all, you are not gonna believe what just went down in LA last night. I'm talking VIP level embarrassment, full-on public disrespect. And a rap beef that just hit DEFCON 1. Word on the street is that Drake, yes, the boy, Champagne, Poppy himself just got booed, heckled, and kicked out of a luxury hotel by a crowd of Kendrick Lamar fans. And that's just the beginning of this wild ride. But wait, that's not all. Sources say Drizzy got scammed out of 6 figures by someone close to him. Someone who might have been working with Kendrick behind the scenes, allegedly. Like, what kind of parallel universe are we in where Drake, international superstar, can't even enjoy a quiet hotel stay without fans literally chanting, "Not like us," in the lobby? People were throwing shade, yelling, "Go back to Canada." And security had to escort him out the back like a disgraced ex. And the scam, chilly. This one cuts deep. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high. Drake's inner circle is crumbling, yallin'. The betrayal might have come from inside his own camp. Stay tuned because this rabbit hole goes way deeper than just hotel drama. This might be the final blow in the Drake versus Kendrick war. Let's get into it. So, boom, picture this. It's a humid night in Los Angeles. The kind of night where the city don't sleep and neither do the cameras. Word started spreading like wildfire that Drake had just pulled up to the Chateau Marmont. It's quiet, low-key, no entourage, just a Sprinter van and a hoodie pulled down low. But even before he could step 1 foot into the lobby, fans were already outside. Not his fans, though. These weren't girls screaming, "Take care, save my life," or boys asking for an OVO chain. Nah, these were Kendrick Lamar fans. And they were ready for war. The moment Drake's face peeked from under that hoodie, someone in the crowd screamed, "Not like us." And suddenly, like some possessed choir, everybody joined in. "Not like us. Not like us." Over and over. The staff tried to calm things down. Security tried to make space. But the energy, it was hostile. People had signs. One dude had a full speaker blasting Kendrick's diss on repeat. Another girl had a shirt that said, "Toronto tears taste better." It was wild. Inside sources say Drake was shook. Not scared exactly, but thrown off. He wasn't expecting this kind of heat. Not here. Not now. See, the Chateau Marmont used to be a safe haven for artists, especially the ones with deep pockets like Drake. But this time it felt like a setup. And what makes it even crazier, he wasn't even staying there. He was supposedly there to meet someone, and we'll get to that. Anyway, as the chants got louder, Drake tried to keep his cool. He walked in with that classic fake calm sunglasses on, ignoring the crowd, acting like he didn't hear nothing. But everybody knew. You could see the stiffness in his walk. You could see the tension in his jaw. And just when he reached the check-in desk, the unthinkable happened. The hotel manager came out visibly uncomfortable and whispered something to Drake's assistant. Next thing we know, Drake's whole team starts whispering back and forth, looking stressed, allegedly. The manager told them there'd been a last-minute booking issue, meaning no room, no suite, no penthouse, nothing available. Now mind you, this is Drake. Money's not the problem. Fame's not the issue. But it seemed like the hotel didn't want that smoke. Rumors started flying that a group of Kendrick fans had reserved nearly every suite just to make sure Drake wouldn't have a place to lay low. And honestly, it worked. Because within minutes, Drake's team was forced to turn around, exit the lobby, and walk right back into that sea of chaos. The chants started up again, louder this time. The phones were out, flashes blinding. "You not like him?" someone yelled. "He got bodied by a damn poem." Another voice screamed. And the worst part? Drake's security had to physically block the crowd as they rushed the entrance. Hotel security wouldn't intervene, didn't want no part of it. So Drake, he had to duck into the back alley exit with his head down. Champagne Poppy turned into exit PAPI. But here's where it gets even messier. See, Drake wasn't just there to relax. Insiders say he had a meeting with a man named Vic the Plug. Tanisana, former music consultant turned brand strategist, who'd been working on a secret campaign to rebuild Drake's image after the Kendrick disaster. Vic's plan, allegedly, he was going to get Drake exclusive brand deals with some global fashion houses and even set up a redemption podcast series that would show the real Aubrey. But plot twist, Vic was nowhere to be found that night. His phone, off. His hotel room, empty. His assistant. And by the next morning, so was the money. Sources close to Uvo say Drake wired over $300,000 to Vic's consulting firm just days before the meeting, non-refundable. And now, Vic's company website was down. His social media wiped. Phone numbers disconnected. Was a ghost town. Now, if you connect the dots, this is where things get real suspicious. Vic had been in law for weeks, seen at parties hosted by people deep in Teed's orbit. Photos surfaced of him at a private Kendrick listening event in Malibu just a week before. And when fans on Twitter started piecing it together, the hashtags exploded. Hashtag Vigat. Hashtag Drake setup. Hashtag not like scammed. It was chaos and Drake. Sources say he was furious. Not publicly, of course. He didn't tweet, didn't post, but behind closed doors, his team was spiraling. Arguments broke out in the OVO group chat. Some people close to Drake started accusing others of letting Vic in too easy. How did this dude get that close without being vetted? One insider reportedly said. Another added, it's always someone with a clipboard and a fake chain that ruins everything. But the real emotional crack came from Drake's mom, Sandy. According to an insider who spoke exclusively to us, Sandy called Drake that night and reportedly broke down crying. She allegedly said, I don't recognize who you've become. This beef has taken too much out of you. The family was left divided. Sandy wanted him to step away from rap for a while, take a break, breathe. But Drake, he wasn't hearing it. He felt embarrassed, humiliated, and he wanted revenge. That's when the rumors started swirling. That Drake had already begun recording a secret response track not to Kendrick, but to Vic. Allegedly titled Wire Fraud, the track supposedly goes deep into how trust gets broken in the industry. One line that supposedly leaked, you sat at my table and ate, then vanished like your morals ain't. Fans are debating whether this is a genius move or just desperation at this point. But y'all, we ain't even scratched the surface yet, because what happened the next day at an undisclosed studio in West Hollywood is what really flipped this whole story on its head. And when I tell you, it's got violent. I'm not playing less than 24 hours after the hotel humiliation and Vic's mysterious disappearance. Drake pulled up to a private studio session in West Hollywood. This wasn't just some random recording night. This was a crisis meeting. Inside sources say it was supposed to be a locked-in, no phones, no leaks type of vibe. Only a handful of trusted OVO people were invited, plus a couple engineers and, allegedly, a surprise guest producer brought in from Atlanta to help craft a response project. But let's be real, it wasn't about music. This was about damage control, loyalty checks, and plotting the next move in the ongoing Kendrick war. But things took a sharp left real quick. Around 10:17 p.m., a black SUV pulled up outside the studio. Not uncommon in law, but the energy shifted immediately. Two men stepped out. One of them was a former OVO tour manager who hadn't been seen around Drake's camp in over a year. And the other, apparently, it was a guy who used to run errands for Kendrick's team back in the day. No one could understand why they were there. They weren't invited, and some say they looked ... to calm, to smug. When security tried to stop them, they flashed badges. Somebody in Drake's circle was feeding info to the ops. How else would these two randoms know where he'd be? This was a private session, scheduled last minute, location kept quiet. Even Drake's closest friends weren't told until an hour Before. So how did they find out? Trust was broken. Paranoia set in. One engineer said Drake started pacing the studio, barely speaking, just shaking his head. Someone overheard him mutter, "They really got moles in my house." But the real blow came when Drake's assistant, someone he's had since before Take Care, got pulled into the hallway by a security guard. Apparently, someone traced the email leak that exposed the studio location back to her. Assistant, let's call her Nina, denied everything. Swore up and down she would never betray him. But the evidence, it was bad. The email forwarding address was tied to a burner account, and that account had been used before. To contact Vic.Drake was devastated. This wasn't just business, this was personal. Nina wasn't some random hire. She'd been around since the beginning. She was with him when he lost his voice in Sweden, when he broke down in the dressing room after that infamous Pusha T diss. She even flew to Jamaica with him during his Views era just to help him clear his head. And now she was at the center of the mess. The whole room went silent. He looked her dead in the face and allegedly said, "If this is true, you're dead to me." Nina left in tears. She hasn't been seen since. But here's where the plot gets even crazier. That same night, Kendrick dropped a photo on Instagram. No caption, just a blurry pic of him smiling, wearing a vintage OVO hoodie. The internet lost its mind. Fans instantly started speculating. Was it Photoshop? A fake hoodie? Or worse, ... Was it gifted to him by someone inside Drake's camp? Within hours, Twitter went into full conspiracy mode. Theories popped up that the hoodie was Drake's own personal merch, the kind that never went on sale. A team-only exclusive. Only a dozen were ever made, and they all went to people in the inner circle. So how did Kendrick get one? Some said it was Nina, others blamed Vic. A few even pointed fingers at Drake's own cousin, who was recently seen at a Kendrick afterparty in Paris. But the damage was already done. OVO's walls were crumbling. Insiders say Drake spent that whole night in the studio, not recording, not writing, just sitting in a corner, silent. The lights dimmed, a bottle of wine untouched, staring at the security feed on the monitor like he was waiting for someone else to betray him. Meanwhile, Kendrick fans were celebrating like they just won the Super Bowl. Outside the studio, a group of them gathered with Bluetooth speakers blasting. Not like us and holding signs that read "Toronto can't save you now." One girl even had a plush owl on a noose. Yeah, it got that disrespectful. And while Drake stayed holed up inside, another twist hit the streets. A leaked voicemail surfaced, allegedly. A voice message from Vic to someone on Kendrick's team. In the audio, Vic laughs and says, "Yo, that man wired me 30 racks just to ghost him. Tell K. I got the bottle ready." No one could confirm if the voice was real, but fans matched the tone, accent, and background noise to old interviews Vic had done in 2022. And if it was real, that's confirmation that the scam wasn't just about money. It was psychological warfare. Now keep in mind, Drake's not dumb. He's been in the game too long to let one setback end him. But this was looking like something he hadn't faced before. Not just bars and diss tracks, but calculated betrayal, psychological games, and social media humiliation. And through all this, Kendrick stayed silent. No interviews, no lives, just that one post. Letting the internet do the talking. Back at the studio around 3:30 a.m., Drake finally stood up, walked into the booth and said one word, "Run it." What came out next, according to a source who heard the early cut, wasn't a diss, was a confession. The song, still untitled, reportedly includes lyrics like, "They don't want the real me, they want a meme version / catch me slipping in a hoodie. Now I'm headline diversion. No punchlines, no shots. Just pain, regret, exhaustion." The producer reportedly paused the track and asked, "You sure you want to drop this?" And Drake replied, "Nah, I just needed to hear it." So now the big question is, what's next? Just as Drake was preparing to leave the studio, thinking maybe the worst was behind him, his phone lit up with a call. Blocked number. He answered, no voice. Just a laugh. The same laugh that played at the end of Kendrick's last diss. Drake stood. They're frozen. The booth lights still dimmed. The producer was still sitting at the board, stunned. And that blocked call. That eerie laugh echoing in his ear. It wasn't just familiar, it was strategic. It's the same damn laugh Kendrick had layered at the end of that brutal diss track. The one that left half the industry tweeting rest in peace Drizzy. Except this time, 'twas real life. The line clicked dead after 3 seconds. No words, no warning. Just laughter. Drake turned slowly to the rest of the room. Nobody said a word. One of his bodyguards, known for always cracking jokes during tense moments, just stared at him. No smile, no movement. Even he knew this wasn't a joke, so Drake did what any artist who's lost control of the narrative does. He ran. Not literally, but emotionally, he shut down the session, told everyone to go home, phones off, no more music. And as he slipped back into his hoodie and pulled up his mask, he told the studio manager, erase everything from tonight. Every file, every track, every camera feed. I don't want a single frame of this night getting out. But it was already too late because while Drake was trying to scrub the past 24 hours, the internet was already running wild with new rumors. Someone, most likely one of the kicked out documentary guys, had secretly filmed audio of the heated studio argument with Nina earlier that night, and it got leaked. All of it. The betrayal, the accusations. Even that heartbreaking moment where Drake said, "You're dead to me." The audio hit Twitter by 6 a.m., trending topic in under 10 minutes. And y'all, the fans were divided. Some were heartbroken, saying Drake had finally snapped, that he was falling apart in real time. Others? Oh, they were eating it up. Making memes, dropping edits of Drake crying with Kendrick's laugh in the background. Even remixing the leaked studio moment into a lo-fi beat. And then came the dagger. Kendrick Lamar's sister, a name we ain't heard much from before, jumped in with a cryptic tweet. All she wrote was, "Funny how y'all be loyal to the wrong ones." No context. No tags. But the internet connected the dots instantly. Fans assumed it was about Nina some, even speculated that Kendrick's people paid her for intel. Now, is there any proof? No. But when has that ever stopped the internet? And now, we get to the family drama because back in Toronto, Drake's father, Dennis Graham, decided enough was enough. Out of nowhere, this man hops on Instagram Live, sipping on a dark liquor. Jazz music playing in the background, and he starts spilling. At first it was vague. "People been plotting on my son since he was in diapers," he said. Oh. "Jealousy, don't care how many hits you got. It'll find you." But as the chat filled with fans begging him to speak on the current drama, Dennis cracked. "I told him months ago to stop responding to that boy Kendrick, but he ain't listen. Now look where we at, surrounded by snakes, everybody smiling in your face and leaking your secrets. I know who they are, and if my son won't deal with it, I will." That live went viral in seconds. Blogs reposted it. Rap Twitter was in a frenzy. And the comments? Brutal. Some accused Dennis of trying to clout chase. Others called it a desperate cry for help. But a handful of people pointed out something very interesting. He said they, not he, they, plural. Who else was he talking about? Because remember, at this point, Drake had already suspected Nina and Vic. But now people were looking closer at other names in his circle. His photographer, his videographer, even the barbershop guy he always shouts out. Because remember that hoodie Kendrick wore? The rare OVO exclusive that wasn't supposed to be outside the circle. Well, get this. A resale page on the dark web allegedly posted an auction for that exact hoodie with a time-stamped pic of the item. And a certificate of authenticity signed by Nina Da. Now, this hasn't been confirmed, it could be fake. But the image spread like wildfire. And the caption under the hoodie's listing, it read, "From the Owl's Nest to the King's Court." Fans took it as a shot, a message, another. Mind game, and the pressure. It finally broke Drake. That night, for the first time in weeks, he went live on Instagram. Face bare, no hoodie, no filters. Just him sitting in what looked like a dark hotel room. The comments were flying. Over 200K viewers tuned in within minutes. He didn't say much, didn't name names, but what he did say shook the timeline. "I don't got time to babysit egos," he started. "I don't got energy for people who want to see me fall because they can't build their own thing. But if y'all think this is the end, you forgot who I am." Then came the bombshell. "Some people think they won by embarrassing me. They didn't win. They just woke me up." The internet went crazy. OVO fans were claiming a comeback was brewing. Drake's supporters said he was in his MJ in '96 arc. Others mocked him, saying the only thing he was waking up to was more betrayal. But one thing was clear: the war wasn't over. And while Drake tried to reclaim the narrative, a new leak hit the blogs just 1 hour after his live. This one. It was different, a voice note from an unreleased Kendrick track, just 12 seconds long, featuring a distorted voice saying, "When the owl falls, the crown comes home." Drake didn't sleep that night. The moment that voice note dropped, "When the owl falls, the crown comes home," his phone exploded. Not just texts from OVO, but messages from friends he hadn't heard from in months. Some saying, "You good?" And others warning him, "It's deeper than music now. Watch your circle." But the craziest call came from someone completely unexpected. An ex, not any ex, her. It's the one he's rapped about, cried over, shouted out in tracks for years. Industry folks say she's been quiet for a while, living out in London, but somehow she had intel. And, allegedly, she called to warn him. Sources say she told Drake that she'd been approached by someone connected to Teed with an offer leak old messages. Stir more drama, play into the downfall narrative. But she refused, said she couldn't. Watch him get buried for real. Drake reportedly thanked her, hung up, and just sat there, eyes on the window. It's completely still by sunrise. He was already on a private jet to Toronto. He needed distance, he needed air. But more than anything, he needed to regroup. Insiders say the first thing he did was hold a closed-door meeting with every single person on the OVO payroll. From executives to interns, the meeting reportedly lasted 5 hours. No phones, no laptops, just questions. The theme: loyalty audits. According to someone who was present, Drake looked each person in the eye and asked, "If this empire falls, would you still rock with me? Or are you just here for the champagne?" Some people broke down, others stayed stone-faced. Few left the building and haven't been seen since. And one allegedly was escorted out after being caught deleting messages during the meeting. Drake was done playing nice, but he wasn't done plotting, while the media was still dissecting every second of his Instagram live. Drake was already cooking up something that, if pulled off, could flip the entire beef on its head. A mini documentary shot guerrilla style in his own home, with raw footage, voice notes, and real-time breakdowns of the betrayal he'd faced. Title: Loyalty is Dead. Brought in his own crew, edited it in-house, and made sure nothing left the building without his approval. No leaks, no teasers. Just one hard drop. End on the final night of August, with no warning. He released it on YouTube. Fans lost their minds. The first 5 minutes showed behind-the-scenes footage from the tours, studio nights, even phone convos with producers and friends. Then came the gut punches. Audio clips of Nina allegedly negotiating payouts. Footage of Vic at that Kendrick party in Malibu. And the most shocking moment? A pixelated shot of what looked like Kendrick's hoodie in Drake's closet, implying someone planted it there before it showed up on Kadot's Instagram. Was it a setup? Was Drake framed? The speculation exploded. Reaction videos dropped instantly. Rap blogs called it a cinematic diss. Fans were yelling, "He's not crying no more, he's plotting." Others said, "This is Drake's lemonade moment." Kendrick, Fans tried to dismiss it as deflection. Nice editing, but where's the bars? They said. But OVO supporters were locked in. They believed this was just part one. And they were right, because just 48 hours later, Drake dropped the actual track. Not a diss, not a sob story, a statement. Title: Exit Wound. It wasn't posted to streaming platforms, only SoundCloud, and his personal website. But within 1 hour, it had over 5 million plays. And the bars, oh, they were vicious. Funny how they want me dead until the drip dries. Then they copy every cadence just to slip by you through stones and hid your hands. That's a sick try. I built this empire on pain. Watch me get by. Fans immediately started decoding every line. One bar in particular stood out. You laughed on the line, but I heard the fear in it. You ghostwrite your moves. I put real tears in it. Was that directly to Kendrick? Or to the mole and his crew? Either way, the tide was shifting. Drake's single quotes name went from trending for being embarrassed to trending for being ruthless. And right when people started celebrating his comeback, another twist hit. Someone leaked surveillance footage from the Chateau Marmont. Yes, the same night he got booed and kicked out by Kendrick fans. The footage showed 2 different camera angles. And what fans saw didn't line up with the story that was told online. Drake wasn't kicked out. He left voluntarily. Not only that, he walked out the back with a smirk, not a scowl. And standing right beside him, someone in a hoodie and mask, later revealed to be Vic. Yep, the same man who scammed him. Now fans were confused. Was it all fake? A setup? Reverse play. Some started claiming Drake orchestrated the hotel chaos himself to bait public sympathy. Others said Vic never betrayed him. They were working together the whole time to expose the real snakes. One Twitter thread even suggested that Kendrick's hoodie photo was staged using an old prop that Vic handed over. And if that's true, then this whole scandal might have been a masterclass in manipulation, but Drake never confirmed anything. In fact, after the footage leak, he went completely silent. No posts, no tweets, not even a story. Kendrick, also quiet. It's like both camps knew they had reached the peak of the chaos, and now it was just smoke. Rumors, confusion, misdirection, but you know who wasn't quiet? The fans. Drake fans started declaring him the rap villain turned mastermind. Kendrick fans held the line, saying, no matter how many plays Drake makes, the bars don't lie. And somewhere in the middle, the rest of us, just watching, shocked, confused, and absolutely glued to every new leak and live. So what's the truth? Was Drake scammed? Or did he flip the whole game with his own hands? Did Kendrick really play chess? Or was he being played? And who really leaked the studio address? Was Nina the scapegoat or the real mole? Those answers, we might never get them. But one thing is certain, this wasn't just a rap beef. This was reputation warfare, betrayal, lies, fake outs, secret recordings, and a whole lot of heartbreak. And now, both artists are quiet. No more posts, no more diss tracks. It feels like the calm before the next storm.